Listen, this morning I hear the crowd in Washington babbling again. They are trying to sell you a fairy tale, a blatant deception. The president says the assault on Iran will only last 4 or 5 weeks. 4 or 5 weeks? Ridiculous. Utterly asinine. They think this is a stroll in the park, a perfect scenario just like what they did in Venezuela. The truth? The truth is geography dictates everything. Iran is not Venezuela. Ammunition stockpiles do not grow on trees. This plan is a catastrophe. Washington thinks that by simply eliminating the top leader, the rest of the government will obediently work with the United States. The children at the Pentagon are playing games with American lives. The reality on the battlefield is that 3 American troops were killed at a base in Kuwait. Those were the first casualties, and certainly not the last. The president himself had to admit there will be more dead. He said the casualty projections could be quite a bit higher. We are feeding troops into a new meat grinder. The Uniparty in the Beltway does not care. Their donors want war. Where is our national interest in this rubble? Nowhere. There is zero benefit for the American people, only the delusion of the globalists. Look at the map. Do not listen to what they say on television. Iran is a massive country, a complex mountainous terrain with tens of millions of people and an active nuclear program. The enemy is not weak. We launched an insane bombing campaign, hitting over 2,000 targets in just the second day. American stealth bombers dropped 2,000-pound bombs on hardened ballistic missile facilities. U.S. forces destroyed the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters and sank at least 1 warship. The Israeli Air Force is bombing the heart of Tehran. They successfully assassinated Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in an airstrike. Satellite imagery shows newly built structures in his compound completely collapsed. But then what? Did the government collapse? No, absolutely not. Ali Larijani immediately announced an interim committee will run the country. Washington hopes the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps will simply turn over their weapons and surrender to the people. Pure delusion. These hardened officers will never surrender. We are repeating the exact same catastrophic arrogance of the Third Reich, thinking we can break a nation's will with bombs alone. The U.S. military is depleting ammunition stored all over the world for an unclear objective. The math of war never lies. Logistics is king. The West is underestimating the adversary's capacity. Since Saturday morning, Iran has fired at least 370 missiles and launched 830 drones at Israel and Gulf states. Emphasize this, 830 drones. In the UAE, they had to intercept over 500 drones and over 150 ballistic missiles. Kuwait recorded the interception of 97 missiles and hundreds of drones. Bahrain and Qatar also had their air defense systems stretched to the absolute maximum, shooting down dozens of incoming missiles. Israel reports destroying 200 Iranian ballistic missile launchers since June, which is about half of their arsenal. But remember industrial reality. Intelligence showed Iran was producing dozens of missiles a month and aiming for 8,000 missiles by 2027. Their defense industry runs 24/7. Meanwhile, the Pentagon worries this conflict will deplete reserves critical for scenarios involving Taiwan or Russia. We are throwing national treasure into a bottomless pit. The neoconservative elite think they can control this escalation. Wrong, dead wrong. The war machine does not run on press releases. It needs 155mm artillery shells. It needs fuel, and we are entirely depleted. What is our purpose? What is the method? What is the end state? Nobody in Washington can answer. The president admits he does not have a clear plan for the transfer of power. He even refuses to commit to defending the Iranian people if they rise up to overthrow the government. Not a single commitment. They talk about liberation, but look at their method. Bloody, ruthless. At least 115 people, mostly children, were killed in a strike on a girls' elementary school in Minab, an absolute catastrophe. Rescue workers had to pull severed arms out of the rubble, surrounded by blood-covered school books. In Tehran, another high school was hit, taking the lives of 2 students. Nearly 750 people were injured and over 200 killed across 24 provinces. Intentionally attacking schools is a war crime. No country receives democracy with bombs. Remember Vietnam. We destroyed villages to save them, and the result? Humiliating defeat. We are creating new generations of enemies. These actions only consolidate power for the regime we want to topple. The elites do not understand this, or worse, they understand but do not care. Human lives are just numbers on their ISR intelligence reports. Follow the money. Why does this disastrous policy continue? Because of greed. Wall Street might pretend to be calm in the short term, shrugging off geopolitical upheaval, but economic reality is knocking. Ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, the vital artery for global oil, has dwindled. International crude prices instantly spiked more than 10%, crossing $80 a barrel right when the market opened. S&P 500 futures immediately pointed to a decline, falling about 1%. Prolonged supply chain disruptions will crush companies heavily dependent on fuel, like airlines. The U.S. economy is standing on a precipice. National debt is piling up. Inflation will explode as energy prices surge, forcing the central bank to act. Who benefits? Energy companies and the military-industrial complex. Oil stocks are already being heavily lifted. Financial analysts openly admit that if you are overweight in oil stocks, you are happy. That is the brutal truth. War is a massive money laundering machine for the globalist oligarchs. They take tax dollars from the American working class, throw them into the furnace in the Middle East, and reap massive profits. It has always been this way. They call it defending the free world. I call it treason. It is over. I repeat, it is over. There is no honorable exit from this stupidity. The president thinks the Arab states in the Persian Gulf are not needed to join the United States. Meanwhile, waves of Iranian missiles are raining down directly on their territories in retaliation. We have opened a Pandora's box. At least 9 people are dead in Israel, and 4 are dead across the UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman. Our leaders are completely lost. The president says he has 3 very good choices to lead Iran, but refuses to reveal them because he wants to get the job done first. Ridiculous. An American-installed puppet leader will not survive a single day in Tehran. History proves that. This war will not be over in a few weeks. It will drag on. It will bleed America of its wealth and blood. 3 American soldiers are dead. Tomorrow it will be 30. Next week it will be 300. And for what? To satisfy the egos of the delusional. The only solution right now is reality. Withdraw. Stop feeding weapons into meaningless wars. Focus on defending our own borders. Negotiate based on physical realities, not fantastical dreams of hegemony. If we do not stop, we will drag the entire world into collapse. It is finished. It is over. It is time to wake up.